Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to another new video. Today, just got a few little things I want to do on my system. Made a video sort of like this a while back, and people seem to like it okay, so I thought we'd do it again. I don't know what to call this video either. No whiskey today, taking a little break. Just got some water. I know the whiskey thing was never related to what these videos were about at all, but the people watching the video seem to indulge me on it. And at this point, I've consumed enough alcohol on camera now that it seems like I've got a little bit of a responsibility just to mention. And also because I look at the analytics and there is a percentage of people watching my videos that are pretty young. Alcoholism, real thing. Take a break from drinking alcohol every once in a while just to make sure you still can. As far as I understand the science, there's absolutely people that are genetically predisposed to be more likely to have problems with alcoholism. I don't think I'm one of those people, but I still want to take a break while I still can. So, you know, once every couple of months, if you enjoy alcohol, as I do, just take a break. Couple of days, week, whatever, just make sure you still can. Anyways, let's get started with the video today. I've got a couple of little things that I want to do, just some miscellaneous stuff that I thought could be fun to do with the screen recorder turned on. So let's start with Neofetch. I don't know why in the video where I wanted to customize Neofetch, I didn't use Neofetch right over here. I'm using pfetch instead, which is sort of a simpler version of it, but it's still cool. Let me go ahead and open up a new terminal here. So Neofetch is this really cool, interesting app. I like it a lot because I can sort of run it in a window and it looks nice. It's aesthetically pleasing, but it also is sort of just providing a whole lot of information that people might have questions about. CPU, OS, window manager, terminal, themes, RAM, memory, fonts that I'm using, all sorts of stuff. You can answer a lot of questions about somebody's setup just by seeing this app. And it also looks nice. It's cool. It's got this sort of image over here with the logo for whatever OS you're using. It's a really cool, handy app. I like it so much that actually if I go into my Zeech config for a second, I sort of did a little alias with it to just sort of run Neofetch and then put a quote underneath it from my custom Fortune database. Got a video about how to set that up if you're interested. I'll leave a card. But the issue is, it's not really an issue. I just sort of want to customize the what this is displaying. Not necessarily remove anything from the list. I actually like the default list of info here a bit, but you know, there's a few things here. Like, it would be really nice to have the memory be displayed in gigabytes rather than megabytes. I don't know why this is set up like this. Like, I don't think it's an old enough app that it would have been being run when systems had megabytes of memory rather than gigabytes, but I don't know, whatever. I don't know. Let's go ahead and get into this. I'm going to leave a link in the description for a default config for Neofetch, but whenever you install Neofetch, it should automatically create a config for you. And that config is going to be in config/neofetch config.conf. And let's go over to a new window here, and I'm just going to open up Neofetch so that we can refresh it and sort of view as we're making changes. And let's scale up this window a bit as well. So if we take a look, the first sort of block up here is defining what things are actually going to be printed out when we run Neofetch. So let's say, for example, right here, it's displaying the resolutions for all of our monitors here. If, for example, I don't want that, I can come in, comment it out, save the config. Whenever I rerun Neofetch, it's no longer there. That's pretty cool. Like I said, I'm not really interested in getting rid of anything. One thing I used to do is, if we come a little bit further down, there's this thing, info calls, COLS. It's the colors that are displayed down here. This pulls the colors that your terminal are set to use and displays them. You can turn that off pretty easily. I used to always have that turned off, but I kind of have changed my mind on it a bit. I like it now. But like I said, I'm not really looking to turn any of the info off. What I am interested in is, if we come down a bit further, it sort of does what a lot of configs do and is defining the actual sort of modules that it's using. So for example, over here, you can see the first module is this Linux kernel module. That is, if we look over here, right here, it's telling me I'm using the Linux, just the standard Linux kernel on Arch Linux, not the LTS or the hardened or the Zen kernel or anything else. And it's version 5.12.9. What I could do is turn on shorthand for that, which would apparently just display the version and then say Arch. So I could give that a shot, see what that looks like. Yep, definitely did change it. I don't know, that's cool. Again, that's not really one of the things I was super interested in changing, but you've got that sort of option for everything. If we want to use shorthand for a distro, we've got that as well. What I'm really looking for is memory here. It looks like underneath memory, we've got a few different options. Right down here at the bottom, I think is what I'm going to want. Memory unit, we can change it from megabytes to gigabytes. And if I go ahead and run fetch again, okay, now it's telling us, hey, we've got 31.28 gigabytes. I wonder how that math works. I know there's some really smart people leaving comments on these videos. I don't actually understand what happens with the memory because there's 32 gigs of RAM in this system. Whenever I boot into Windows, it says 32 gigs of RAM. Whenever I boot into Linux, it says 31.28 gigs of RAM. What's the deal? Like, is some of the memory actually being lost or like not being used just because of some way that the OS runs? I'm booting on EFI, not the standard BIOS, so I don't know if that would affect it at all. I'm just curious if anyone leaving comments has any input on that. Anyways, the CPU. This is the other thing. I'm using a 2600X 6-core CPU, but the way it's listed, it's listing out the threads for the CPU or like the logical cores for the CPU, which I mean is fine if that's what you're used to seeing. I just always think of like CPU core count in terms of the actual physical core count. So I mean, like sometimes when I see Ryzen 2600X 12 threads, 12 cores, I just think like, oh, 12 no, it's a 6-core CPU. So I'd rather just change this to display the actual physical core count. And I believe that's something that we should have the option to do if I go and look at CPU. Oh yeah, right down here, CPU cores, display CPU cores, we can display as logical, physical, or off. Support physical doesn't work on BSD. Huh, wonder why that is. Anyways, let's go ahead and try out physical here and rerun fetch. Okay, looks nice. So, oh, no, it just totally disappeared. Did I spell physical wrong? It would not be the first time I've done something really stupid like that. Let's try that again. Okay, yeah, there we go. I think I just spelled it wrong. Yeah, so now it's showing me Ryzen 5 2600X 6-core at 3.6 gigahertz. That reads more like I would want it to read. Really, there's no difference whatsoever. Anyways, Neofetch done. Now let's go into Vim, I suppose. So I'm actually just going to go into my nvim config. Let's see, a couple things I want to do here. First of all, a while ago, I took away line numbers from my Vim config because I don't use that all that often. And if you look down here in the corner on my status line, there is still a line number thing being displayed. I just didn't really love them being displayed over here on the left side the way they are by default. But there are a few very specific use cases where I really like to be able to turn on relative numbers in Vim just for a second and then turn it back off. Like I really don't want line numbers there. So I'm going to do set, I think it's set NU and then RNU will set line numbers on and also set relative numbers on. So I'm going to copy that, delete it, come down here to my key bindings. A couple of interesting things we might talk about. First of all, I mapped Control S to source config /nvim /init.vim. So whenever I hit Control S, it'll refresh my Vim config and apply any changes that I've made. That's really nice. Another thing that I do was I set a leader key, which this is a pretty popular thing to do in Vim. It's smart. It's a good way to go. You can set map leader to any key. Okay. What I set it to was space. And so you can see, for example, if I hit space and then enter, I'm going to enter Goyo, which is a sort of distraction-free writing mode plugin for Vim. I like it a lot. I think it's pretty popular and it's easy to see why once you start to use it if you use Vim to edit Markdown or anything else where you'd want a lot of clutter out of the way. And this actually gets to another problem I want to fix real quick. But for now, let's actually just set up a keyboard shortcut to turn line numbers on and off. So what I want to do is I'm going to do remap. So let's do leader and then Z. And we'll do CR to close it. And we're going to do set NU RNU. And then I'll make a copy of that. And we'll do leader and then space and then Z, and we'll set no NU and then no RNU. Reload our config here, and now if I do space Z, oh no, I didn't want to do Z. I've got Z set to fold stuff. What do I want to do here? Let's do L for line. Okay, new plan. Let's do CL, which should be Control L, and then we're going to do leader C-L to turn back off. So now if I reload, Control L will turn on line numbers, and then space Control L will turn them off. Cool. Yeah, that feels nice. I think, yeah, that feels natural. I just like to try out the keyboard shortcuts a few times sometimes to make sure they feel right, and I'll sort of change them if they don't. Next up, Goyo, that plugin we just talked about. You'll notice when I enter it, it maintains a transparent background, but as soon as I exit, it pulls back up the sort of standard Vim background, no transparency whatsoever. So if we take a look at how we're actually turning on transparency in Vim, I think, let me find the setting here. It's this right here. High, exclamation point normal, CG term BG none, and GUI BG none. What this is doing is it's just setting the terminal background and the GUI background for Vim to no background, i.e. transparent. So in theory, I did a little bit of research about this. I haven't tried it yet. I should be able to just drop this into this Goyo function. Now the Goyo thing, if we were to take a look at the Goyo GitHub page, this is sort of the recommended way that you use Goyo. Is you use this sort of function that they've built to enter Goyo and leave Goyo. And the reason that it's nice is because you basically create two events, Goyo enter and Goyo leave, where you can apply and unapply various settings on entering and on exit. So for whatever reason, when we're exiting Goyo, it's no longer enabling transparency, or it's disabling that transparency setting that we set up. So what I should be able to do is just paste that in there. Normal CGC term background none and GUI term background none. And I don't know why I exited. We should have been able to just reload there, but we'll go ahead and enter Goyo. Looking nice, transparent. Exit Goyo, still transparent. Cool. So that's nice. Goyo is freaking awesome. I love it a lot. And now it's better because I don't have to reload or exit to get transparency back once I exit. That seems like a bug in Goyo, but there's not much of a workaround to fix it. It was like one extra line, so not too worried about it. Anyways, that's probably enough for Vim. Next up, let's talk about emojis. What? I know not many people care about emojis, but it is a thing that people use, and it'd be nice to have support for it. And luckily support for it is super easy. You just want to do sudo pacman-s install nodo emoji font. I forgot what it was called. Let's just search emoji. Oh, nodo fonts emoji, that's what it is. So sudo pacman-s nodo fonts emoji. There we go. And then if we open up a file that has emojis in it, say the little script I wrote for this video, boom, emojis are being displayed. And this is on the command line. So like, I feel like this would be the place where you'd be most likely to have issues, is in a sort of weird environment like that. Of course, they show up in browsers and basically everywhere you would want them to. We got emojis working now, but we can do a little bit more, obviously. You know what else would be cool? Is if we could also type out some emojis, like use some ourselves. That'd be cool, right? Well, let's do that. One way you could do that is if you just look for like a nodo emoji cheat sheet, something like that. I know this is like a terrible solution, but this is the solution that a lot of people use. You just sort of find a page that has all of the icons there, and you copy the icon, and then if I come back over here, I can paste it in now, and that didn't work. Maybe we find a different one that actually will paste the actual symbol, not just the code. Point is, you can see why this isn't really the best way to go about this, so let's do something a little bit better. What I found that I think will work well is a dmenu script to copy and paste emojis. There's a lot of these. I found a whole bunch for Rofi immediately, but I don't use Rofi really. Dmenu does what I need it to, but I found this shell script that should work for us. So what I'm going to do is, this is the actual script right here. I'm going to link to this in the description. Should be the second link in the description. So we're going to grab this dmenu emoji.shell script. And I'm just going to grab the raw and copy the whole thing. You can see it's quite a long shell script. It's not that complex. There's just a lot of emojis that it's listing out with a sort of descriptor for it. But the actual sort of real bulk of the script is right here. So anyways, I'm going to go into, let's say, my .scripts directory. It doesn't matter where you put this, but I'm just going to create a new script, call it emoji, paste in the script, go ahead and exit, and then we need to run chmod +x emoji to make it executable. And now we get syntax if we go back in there. That's not why you make it executable. You need it to be executable so it'll actually run. But now if we run emoji, boom, it opens up a little dmenu script. You can see it actually, uses the themes for dmenu and everything, the sizing, the fonts, everything. But if I, let's find the rocket emoji, paste it in, boom. Now we got emojis. Let's say I want a wink face with stuck out tongue and winking eye. God. Oh man, you gotta love it. Oh, look at that. Of course you didn't find that command. Wow, it's beautiful. Take it a little bit further. Typing emoji to get emojis would be great, but what if I'm not on the command line? Well, I need a keyboard shortcut, don't I? This is the part that's going to vary depending on what window manager you're using. I'm using good old awesome window manager. So I'm going to go and find the keyboard shortcut that I set up for good old dmenu. And let's just make a copy of it. I got 2 of them, and we'll just change the name to Emoji, update the description a little bit here. And then we need to change the keyboard shortcut. I'm using MAKC space to launch dmenu. So maybe we can do, let's do mod key and then shift. Do you have to surround that in quotes? You might have to surround that in quotes for it to work. Mod key shift space. Oh, and then we just need to replace the dmenu script with the path to our script. So it's going to be, in my case, it's going to be /home/mac /script/emoji. Go ahead. Then we just need to reload awesome. And now when we do command shift space, pulls it up, and we can copy and paste emoji in whatever app we want to use. You know, let's send a tweet to celebrate, a cryptic tweet that no one will understand unless they saw this video. Let's get some emojis here. Let's do a grinning face. Let's do the old winky face. Put that in there as well. Yeah, tweet. Let's move on to dmenu here. Dmenu, like my favorite app in the world, out of nowhere. I probably spend a good 30 to 40% of the time that I'm ricing or hacking on my configs in dmenu. I love this app so much. A couple of things we want to do. We're going to mess with some modules. We're going to give it a little bit of a facelift. I'm going to get rid of these arrows up here. Not really feeling them anymore. I know I was joking about never getting rid of them in a video recently, but yeah, they are kind of old. Let's go ahead and cd into my config/polybar. You will notice, if you are a viewer of this channel, things have changed a bit. If I go into my standard config file, I've actually separated out a couple of things. I separated out the modules and the colors to separate files, so that I can just sort of have just the bar in a file. I've got a video coming up about that, so I won't talk about it much, but yeah. So the first thing I want to do is I actually want to change the font here. I've been using this weird sort of patched on top of patched version of Source Code Pro Nerd font. And the reason I was using that is because there's like sort of 2 different sizes for a lot of the glyphs, and it allowed me to use these really big arrows while having normal sized icons. I'm not going to do that anymore, so we can get rid of it. And so let's just do Fira code nerd font. Okie dokie. And we're going to need to scale it down quite a bit here. Let's try maybe 20. That looks good. Let's go 24 maybe. Yeah, that looks nice. Then we just need to sort of adjust the horizontal position here a bit. And yeah, I think we nailed it really there. The spacing is sort of weird now on some of the modules, but I suppose what we could do is we could just go into the module settings, and let's find like my YouTube module, add a few extra spaces. Oh, one weird thing now that it's separated out is we have to go into the actual Polybar config file and just save for it to update. That's weird, but it's just how it works now. So let's get that spacing right. I know this isn't probably the proper way to set the spacing, but as long as it looks fine, I don't really care if I'm doing it the right way. Oh yeah, I guess we could go ahead and remove the arrows. So let's go get rid of all those, get rid of these. What else has an arrow? And then I'm not fixing this Arch Linux update module here because I'm actually going to get rid of it. What I was having it do was run, what was it? It was yay-sy, and then I forget exactly how I was printing out but it was keeping track of packages that needed to be updated. A couple of people told me, and I did some research, that's a bad idea to just run like pacman-sy instead of syu because you're doing a partial update. I'm not sure why that's bad, but it is. It says so right there on the Arch Wiki, and was told by multiple people, so we're going to get rid of that. I'm going to get rid of the old update module, and then if I come over to my config here for my actual bar, I just need to get rid of that update as well. Okay, now I no longer have it there. So then, oh, we need to edit the Spotify play, pause, and skip over here and get some actual skip icons. So I think the last few times I talked about Polybar, I mentioned using an app called GU Charmap to get icons and view them and stuff, and that's a really, really great way to do it. I like that app a lot, but let's do it a different way because this is not even close to the only way that you can find icons. So since I'm using Nerd Fonts, which is sort of, you know, I would argue a slightly better version of Font Awesome. What we can do is we can go to nerdfonts.com/cheat sheet, and what this will let us do is view all of the Nerd Fonts icons. Awesome also has one of these, or Font Awesome also has one of these, so you can check that out. if you want to, but since I'm using Nerd Fonts, I'm going to take a look at their cheat sheet, and this is a great way to do it because you can just literally search icons, and in this case I know basically exactly what I want. So I'm going to want a play icon, search play, and we got a few that come up. There's a play pause icon and a play icon. I'm going to get just the normal play one. So we just click on icon and it should put that into the keyboard, into the clipboard for us. So then I go and I find my play icon and I just want to change the icon. You can see it change up there. And then we just need to find some skip icons. Okay, looks good. So now let's just take a look at the other module that I want to build. I want to build a module for an app called gpick. This is a cool app. It functions as sort of a color picker. So you could just like pick any color on the screen and then it would display that color for you. But you can also just come in here and tweak colors to get a hexadecimal value or an RGB value or whatever. It's great. It's just a cool little color management tool. And I think it belongs in any sort of professional multimedia person's toolbox. But I want a way to launch it from Polybar. So we'll just build a module to do that really quickly. So let's do, we can do module. We'll call this one color maybe. And let's go ahead and we're gonna do type equals custom / script. And then we don't really need to set an interval or anything. We really just need to like echo out an icon. I've got one here that we can use. So we'll echo out that icon. And then we just need to do click left and launch gpick. And then we'll come back over to our Polybar config. And we just need to place it on the actual bar somewhere. So I'll put it right here. To color. I know we probably need to put that in quotes. Oh, you know what else might be a problem? Is right here. That's supposed to be exec. It's executing echo and then echoing out that icon. That could be a problem as well. Oh, yep, there we go. Now it shows up perfect. So yeah, there we go. Now if I click on this icon, pulls up gpick, and we can do whatever we need to do with it, and then close it, and it's good. It just sort of sits there in the menu bar. Okay, so we can quit out of that, and the last thing I want to do is just give my bar a little bit of a new look, a little bit of a facelift, if you will, here. Just got rid of the line, so maybe let's do something else to make it stand out a bit. I thought we could just make it a little bit taller, and that might change things up a bit. Yeah, there we go. That's kind of a nice look. It demands more attention because it physically takes up more space on the screen. We'll see how that goes. One other thing I guess we could do now since we did that is I'm using dmenu up top again and I have it locked to the same line height as Polybar, so I guess we need to update that now as well. So let's go into my dmenu directory and I'm just going to go into the config.def.h and we need to update the line height there as well. Also, using a 4K monitor, these specific values that I'm using are going to be probably way higher than you need to. Just keep that in mind. Rebuild the app. Perfect. And if we try out our emoji shortcut, perfect. Everything looks nice. Anyways, that I think is going to be it for this video. We've made some changes and I like it. System feels fresh and nice and works a little smoother than it did when we started. So I guess that's the goal of these sorts of videos. Thank you for watching, everyone. If you need a VPN, check out PureVPN. That's it. See you in the next one.